Die is cast for Jean-Claude Juncker to take the EU's top job as defeat looms for David Cameron. British diplomats have warned that a battle royale is coming that could hasten a British referendum on Europe if the former Prime Minister of Luxembourg is installed in the European Union's top job. After talks between Herman Van Rompuy and German Chancellor and Britain last week, Mr. Angela Merkel has decided to proceed as soon as possible with the appointment of Jean-Claude Juncker, inflicting a humiliating defeat on David Cameron at a meeting of EU leaders on June the 27th. As matters stand now, Van Rompuy sees no alternative to the appointment of Juncker, said a confidential report seen by The Telegraph of talks that took place last Wednesday. Short of a complete U-turn by the Chancellor of Germany, the die is cast in Berlin. So, it looks inevitable that Jean-Claude Juncker will now be the next president of the EU. Does anyone remember actually voting for him? No, me neither. But just look at him. He looks like he's halfway through shapeshifting in this picture. I mean, who has wrinkles in their cheeks, for fuck's sake? Anyway, Juncker's dream is ever closer union. In other words, he wants a United States of Europe as soon as possible, and he wants to remove the sovereignty of our country to be placed under his unelected control. Why don't we just make him king? It would solve an awful lot of problems, wouldn't it? It seems to me pretty obvious that he wants to do this because he had to wear short trousers and ride his bike to and from school every day, and now he wants to get his own back. The Lisbon Treaty states that the EU president should be chosen with the results of the most recent EU election in mind. In that case, they should have picked someone who was less of a Europhile and someone slightly more Eurosceptic. But they haven't. They were never going to, regardless of the results of the EU elections. The dictators at the helm of the EU couldn't give a shit what you or I think. They are covered in gravy, and neither you nor me are going to stop more gravy from coming. But the selection of Jean-Claude Juncker shows us two things about the EU and why we should get out of it as soon as possible. One, it shows us that Britain's voice counts for jack shit. So there really is no chance of Cameron renegotiating anything worthwhile. And two, that Germany now openly rule the European Union. Short of a complete U-turn by the Chancellor, the die is cast in Berlin. So Mr. Merkel has managed to do politically what Hitler couldn't do with force, and that is to rule Europe.